There are those who wear masks to protect themselves. And there are those who wear masks to protect us all.
Okay, what was your brief for Ghosts? And they told you you're making a new Call of Duty. What was your brief?
Well, they didn't tell us we were making Ghosts. That was our idea. Activision said, well, what do you guys want to work on next after we finish Modern Warfare 3? And so the leadership of Infinity Ward came together through many meetings, and we decided ultimately to do Call of Duty Ghosts. There was a lot of talk about Modern Warfare 4, and there was a lot of discussion. Some of the team members wanted to go in that direction, but after a lot of discussion, we ultimately decided that Call of Duty Ghosts was the direction we wanted to go.
Okay, so there's a new engine for the next-gen Call of Duty. Now that you're exploring new possibilities rather than trying to juice as much as you can from an old engine, how's that changed development?
One of the most significant ways it's changed development is just in the extra time it takes for the asset generation. It's the fidelity of the new assets is so significant that it takes easily 50 to 100% longer to do a lot of these assets, just because they're so detailed and they're so time consuming to put together. So that's been a huge thing. The other challenge with next gen has been working with some of the other hardware manufacturers on their new hardware. The challenge of, we push ourselves as hard as we can to make sure that we can eke out as much as we can of the hardware of whatever system we're on, so we can get the best looking game possible. But at the same time, in tandem, the hardware developers are also working on their hardware, trying to figure out what is the best that they can get out of it. So it becomes a very precarious situation for us, so that we're now depending on their estimates of, we think it'll kind of be able to do this, and we have to use that to build our estimates of, well, if it can kind of do this, what is our engine really going to be capable of? Well, maybe we can kind of do this. And so that's just, on a hardware generation turn cycle, a really challenging thing to deal with. I joined Infinity Ward on Call of Duty 2, which was a similar time where we joined the 360 and the PS3, and we went through similar growing pains. And it's just, it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to launch a great title on a next-gen hardware launch, but it definitely adds its fair share of headaches.
One of the things that you seem most excited about is the new technology that you're able to use. Sub-D being one that was mentioned several times during the presentation. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, Sub-D is short for subdivisions. So what it allows us to do is to flag certain geometries with this tech. And as you get closer to the tech, or to the model, dynamically it will start to subdivide itself. And what that does is it removes the faceting that you can see of the individual polygons along curves. And so the closer you get, the more it will fasten, and really almost to a level of infinity, you can get to a point where you don't see any of the polygons. It's just a perfectly smooth, round thing, and that works on the weapons, that works on the characters, their heads, their helmets, their gear, any specific props in the environment that we've got it set on, or foliage. It's fantastic tech that really removes that aspect of the reminder that you're in a game when you see a guy and he's got a jagged angle on his head, or his fingers are kind of jaggedy. So those are one of the real significant ways to aid in the immersion.
Okay, so there's new player animations, such as slides and improved vaulting over scenery. I mean, what challenges did that present, and how is their introduction going to kind of impact gameplay?
Well, from a gameplay perspective, they give you more options. The slide allows you to get away from enemy fire and end up in a crouch position, which is really nice. So you can be running, sprint, and then hold down your down button and go into a slide, and you can either end up in a crouch, or you can continue to hold it down and slide directly into a prone position. So it really gives you just a flexibility of getting into a different position quicker while on the move. The new mantle system allows you to traverse different obstacles in your way. In previous titles, it was a little bit of a clunky experience where you would go and you would hit mantle and you would go and stop and up and over and down, and then you would kind of be given control back again. And this is really a slick and efficient way to hurdle those sorts of obstacles and not worry about, do I take a different way because I'm going to have to mantle and I might die as I'm climbing over this obstacle. And so it really affects gameplay, and that gives you the choice. Wow, no, I have a choice now. It's not the obvious, no, I don't mantle. It's, wow, I can take this and stay alive.
The level of details on the player characters, the forearms for example, is vastly improved. What other improvements can we expect to see?
You know, the arms is great. The just characters in general are beautiful. Whether it's the modeling of the faces, we have twice the number of joints in the face to match the fidelity of the face, and so you need more joints to add more definition in the way we animate the face. We're also experimenting with facial motion capture, which is a first for us in Infinity Ward. Other tech features besides the sub-Ds and the lighting is taking a giant step up. We're allowed to have more lights that cast shadows on a surface, which is just going to aid in, just believability of an environment and a scene. The new particles that we've got, our particle count limits are raised, and the ability to light particles in a very specific and realistic way is really aiding in just how beautiful some of these explosions and smoke and things are. So there's a lot of different tech things that are going in lots of areas. Some are what we would call pillars, and that would be the sub-Ds and the displacement, the lighting, seeing real-time God rays creeping through those foliage leaves. And some are a little bit more on the subtle side, like the iris adjustment, but something that you're going to feel. You know, we wouldn't do it if it was something that wasn't noticeable. But it might not be so noticeable that you say, oh wow, what is that? But it should be noticeable to the point of, maybe I can't put my finger on it, but something just feels really cool right now.
Okay, multiplayer fans are going to have a lot more customization options. Going to be able to do a lot more with their player character. What kind of options are we going to have that we didn't have before?
Well, really what we're doing is giving you, the player, the ability to outfit your character in a way that matches your style. So there's all different kinds of headpieces, upper body gear, lower body gear that you can kind of mix and match and customize. A lot of the assets are taken from the single player campaign, so some of those cool characters that you saw in the single player campaign you can actually recreate, and you can also mix and match and make your own character. So it really just gives you a little bit of opportunity to show off some of your visual flair from a third person perspective, other people, how they're going to see you.
We've seen the next gen possibilities, but what kind of experience a 360 and PS3 players going to have? Okay,
so real quick, we've made it a very important rule when we set out at the beginning of the project to make sure that the gameplay experiences were identical. That was a really important point for us, to make sure that if you did purchase the game on a current gen platform, you didn't feel like you were left out of something. And we really poured our time and effort into making the tech more immersive, because we've never really felt that the tech has limited us from doing good gameplay design. It's really limited us for really adding to the immersion of that design.
Okay, and where are you in terms of development, and what's the road ahead?
Well, the game launches November 5th of this year, and so we are approaching alpha very shortly, and then shortly after that we'll wrap it up with gold and we'll be done. So we've got a couple months left to work.
Call of Duty Ghosts.